Been a while, but I'm back. Cleared the closet, time to stack. Watch me go and get it. Watch me go and get it. Sneaker hunter, yeah, you know I've been fly. Copping heat since 1990 for die. Used to let them sit, but now I wear mine. Took a break, but now the kid is back live. Welcome back to another episode of the Sneaker Hunter. I am Young Goob the God. Thank you for coming through, chopping it up for a few minutes as we talk about the sneaker game. Today we're going to be getting into sneakers as an investment, as a real investment. We're going to be looking at some real numbers from my collection. For those of you who are new to the channel, I am an OG sneakerhead. Been doing this thing for a while. Took a break about 2005. Came back in the game 2020, around early in this shelter in place. And I realized that you got to wear these things. The investment on them, the ROI or the return on investment, ain't what y'all cats think it's going to be long term. There's some other things that you can do with your money. So hit that like button if you enjoyed today's content. It helps us move in this YouTube world. It lets other people know that this content is worth their time. So let's spread the love with the like button. And if you're interested in joining the Marleyminded TV family, ooh, Lord, go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell so that you can stay up to date with everything that we do over here. But without any further ado, let's get into today's. All right, so let me tell you how my Jordan journey started, or my collecting journey started. From 2000, late 2000 to about mid to late 2005, I was copping damn near every general release that came out. I was at it. I was in college, didn't really have, I won't say didn't have anything else to do, but this was what I was doing. I was a sneakerhead who knew that it was gonna be a whole wave coming up behind us, but we was just doing what we was doing. Now, at a certain point, I decided that I am going to hold on to these shoes. I'm gonna stop wearing them. I'm gonna start keeping them DS. This was like 2001. The last shoe that I really just tore down was the white and blue 4s that came out. I was upset about those, but everything after that I started holding on to. So from about 2001 to 2005, I collected a pretty decent amount of Jordans. I think I was up to about 70 pair almost, 65 to 70 pair. Most of them DS, about 40 pair DS, and I'm rocking them very sparingly, the ones that I have worn, so that they stay clean as hell. Pushing forward in time, 2005, I leave where I go to school at. I leave Tallahassee, I come back down to South Florida. And I decide that I'm just going to hold on to these shoes like baseball cards, you know what I'm saying? I am going to let the value build, and then once they get to a certain point, then we're gonna go start offing these things. 2014 comes, the market, sneaker market go crazy. By this time, I'm out of the game. I'm out of the game for about 8 years now. It's 8, 9 years at this point. Thought about selling them, but I said, nah, I'm gonna hold on a little while longer. Fast forward to 2019. 2019, I had learned a little bit more about investing. And at this point I said, okay, it's time to cash in on these shoes. The GOAT app was out there. StockX had been around for a little while. I had just run upon that. So I'm like, let me see what's going on. Started sending shoes back to StockX, sent about 5 pair back. They sold bang, bang, bang. Within minutes. I sold like, I forgot what I was selling, but I sold like $1,500 worth of shoes in a day, like 4 pairs. It's crazy. So I'm like, oh, I'm about to come off these shoes, get paid. Now, person like me, I stored my J's well. So I assumed that they were going to be well preserved. That was not the case. Started getting my shoes back from StockX saying that it was problems with them, like it was cracking, and I'm like, cracking, coming apart. So this made me start looking at the rest of my shoes, and that's when I found out that they had worn themselves. All of these J's that I had coveted for so long, True Blue 3s, Mocha 3s, the nines that everybody love. I can't even call a name off the top of my head right now, but all of my nines, the nines were the worst. 13, some 13, not all of them. Actually, 13 survived. But 18s, 17s, 16s, I threw 15s out a long time ago. I was not having it with them shoes. But these shoes wore themselves and they lost all of their value. They couldn't stand the test of time like an investment should. In order to have kept them at least whole, I would have had to wear them, which would have took away the value. So I decided to do a little bit of research, start going back and saying, had I bought shares of Nike at the same pace that I bought these Nike shoes or these Jordans, what would this money look like today? So I used a site called don'tquityourdayjob.com, or the acronym for that, and I ran some numbers. So let's take a look at the video. We're gonna look at a few scenarios of, had I been a wiser sneakerhead at that time, and see if what this money looked like compared to those dry rotted shoes that I thought was gonna be money. Let's take a look at the video. This thing gonna be interesting. All right, we're looking at a stock calculator that shows you your dividend or your return over time. All right, let's get started. We're gonna start by entering the Nike ticker, which is NKE. And the starting amount that we're gonna start with is $125. Now, I chose $125 because that was the retail price for the oldest pair of the shoes that I still have, my Space Jam 11s. They came out on December 13th, 2000. And we're gonna look at what that one-time investment of $125 back in 2000 would look like at the time that I created this video. All right, so that 125 is damn near $6,000 now. Not a bad return, actually a hell of a return on $125. Now, it took 20 years to get there, so that's not necessarily ideal, but think about it. Did any of your, does the Jordan 11 Space Jam go for $6,000 now, dead stock? No, nowhere even near. I think the last price I saw for a dead stock pair might have been $400 from 2000. So not a bad investment. Now we're gonna look at another scenario. We're gonna start with that same $125 on that day. But instead of going to 2020, we're gonna go back to the time that I stopped collecting back in 2005. Don't know the exact date, but so we're just gonna go to the end of 2005 and say that December 2005, I stopped buying shoes. But we're going to add the periodic investments, which would be kind of like my buying habits over that 5-year span. So about 2 pairs of J's per year at $125. So one pair would be $125. I wasn't doing that. 2 pairs a month is closer to the average. Now we know J's do not go for $125 anymore, so think about real day numbers if you want to. So that starting on December 13th all the way of 2000 to December of 2005, with that $250 a month, leaves us at $28,000. $28,812 to be exact. Now that would be the value of my collection, all right, in Nike shares from 2000 to 2005. And as you can see, Nike wasn't making huge gains in the beginning, but that arrow is pointing up. That chart line is definitely pointing up in a wonderful direction. All right, so that's scenario number 2. Scenario number 3. We're gonna take that $28,000. Remember, it's $28,800. Yep, $28,800. We're gonna take that, and we're just gonna take $28,000 of it. You know what I'm saying? Use the $800 to go have a good time. So we're gonna have a $28,000 initial investment in the year of 2006. Now, why 2006? Because I stopped buying shoes. Theoretically, had I done these other scenarios, then I would have invested my money into Nike first part of the year. And we're going to let that run all the way to current day, 2020. Well, not current day, when I decided to get back in the game. Let's do that. Which was around May of 2020. All right. I wasn't buying shoes, so there are no periodic investments. So we want to calculate that $28,000 starting at January 3rd of 2006 all the way out to last year when I got back in the sneaker game, right around early May. All right, notice no periodic investments, just that $28,000. The return, $439,119.14. Are you getting that type of return on your sneakers? Now, this is just from not even buying shoes. Just like those shoes sat in my closet for that entire time, and they wore themselves. Had I had shares of Nike with the same rate, this is what would have been happening. I could have went back and bought all those shoes at resale prices if I wanted to. That is an investment. This other stuff, we just playing, y'all. So as you can see, if you really want to make some money, if you really want to get in the sneaker game, then you might want to play the other side of the game that they're not telling you about. The side that the people with the money are really making the money. They letting us put our 150, our 200 into this item that we gonna hold. Think we gonna hold till it gains some value. And in my experiences, them joints gonna wear themselves if you don't wear them. So you might want to get into this flipping game and stop looking at them as investments. They might be trades, but they not investments. So this just an OG sneakerhead trying to give y'all young boys and some of y'all old heads some game, you know what I'm saying? So that you can start to not be so bitter about what's going on. We all gonna play this game how we gonna play it. As you can see from the video, I learned from my mistakes. I saw that if I just strictly buy shoes, then I'm gonna just strictly have shoes that have some value, maybe. But if I buy investment tools like shares of a company, particularly the ones that I fuck with like Nike, then I am going to have some money on the backside. You know what I'm saying? So just something to kind of think about as you matriculate your way in this sneaker game. Well, that does it for another episode of the Sneaker Hunter Presents The Game. We didn't have any shoes to review today. We'll have something coming up. We got some things coming down that delivery path. You know what I'm saying? We got delivery dates on the way. But for those of you who enjoyed this content, which I hope is everybody, make sure you hit that like button. And if you want to stay up to date with what we do over here at Marleyminded TV, then go ahead and subscribe. And the notification bell as well. That's an extra layer. So boom, as soon as I'm dropping, you there. You know what I'm saying? I'm Young Good Begod. This is the Sneaker Hunter, presented by Marleyminded TV. As you know, it take two wings to fly. Be easy. Ooh, Lord. Back in 92, my mama bought me 7. 3 years later, caught my own 11. That was the start of the sneaker craze, man. Things them changed up nowadays.